Hello world, my name is Tim Roswick, and today I'm here with Noam, a YouTube content creator, game developer, and awesome person, part of Game Dev Underground, a fellow developer, and we're going to talk to him a little bit about his game dev journey over the past several years, how he got into game dev, how he learned to market his game, how he built his game, and how he sold his game over the course of the last couple of years. Noam, how you doing, dude?
Thank you for having me, and you're a nice person as well.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. It's always nice when you get compliments right up front. It's great. All right. So I want to know, first of all, I just want to know, like, before we get into your game and all the stuff you did and all the cool things you learned and all the marketing tips and tricks we got, because those are always fun. I want to know how you got into game development, what got you started, what made you want to, because you made the whole game alone, right?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
I mean, I paid some actors and stuff like that, but everything was on my end. Nobody had my project. So
what made you want to do a crazy thing like make a game alone?
I didn't know. It's hard, man. I didn't know.
You didn't know it was hard. That's the best answer ever.
I'm just being honest. I knew that it was gonna be a difficult thing, and I had to learn the Steam API and how you sign a contract and open a company. I mean, you had your company before when you started marketing, so you kind of had the paperwork and IRS and all of that. I mean, I just got out of my service as a detective. Yeah, that was what I did when I was 18, and then I got out and I instantly went to game development. So I didn't had any time to learn about how do you make your own company and stuff like that. I just started working on a game, and I said, when we'll get to that bridge when we get there, and it scared me. It scared me, all the finance and how will I make a living out of this? But you know, it's a dream. You gotta follow your heart.
What made you want to go into game development though? Like did games just inspire you as a kid, or like what?
I mean, I was creating scripts and mods and plugins and all of that as a kid, but I always wanted to make more. I did tiny projects, some way too much, way bigger projects that I could never finish, like the MMORPG FPS thing that everyone wants to do. And yeah, as a kid it was fun, you know, learning, but I always knew I want to be a game developer. I was when I was like 11 or 12, I started coding. I also studied coding in high school, but it was kind of easy. Not a very big a class, but you know, it was fine. Just a basic Java, and then I made an application for a game app for Android. My first game, actually. I just partnered with a friend. He did the art, and I did the coding in Java. It was a very cool game, very cool tiny game. It got a lot of downloads, like 10,000 downloads. This guy was an Israeli YouTuber. I'm from Israel, so he had an audience, and it was fun. It was fun looking at all of the comments and a lot of shares and people liking it. So all of that happened when I was in high school. So after that happened, and I joined the military to do my service there as a detective, that's when I knew that yeah, I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna build up a following, and I'm gonna create games as a living. That was that point.
Okay, so you went in knowing that you were gonna come out and do that.
I know that I was gonna try. I didn't know. As a detective, you can go outside and go to the police station and keep working there and make a great salary, by the way, because you already have experience, and they just want to grab you and take you and give you money. And that was very a nice offer, because you know, it's stability, and it's great for a 21-year-old. but I told to myself I didn't even go hiking or traveling or anything. That usually everyone does that after you finish your service. I just I remember that I went in, I cut down my ID, the military ID, and I came back and I started working on forgiveness. It was insane. I had no life for like a year.
That's
I
awesome.
had I had like 12 hours a day, nonstop, creating this game. It was a huge project for me, and I just wanted to finish that and see if it's possible, man.
So
It
that
was
sounds like
amazing.
one of those beautiful nightmares where it's like
Yeah.
when you tell the story, it's like, oh, he's so passionate, working 12 hours a day. But when you're actually there, it's like, oh my God, I hate this thing. Please. Were you ever there, or like, did you maintain the passion and the happiness and the excitement the whole way through?
I didn't let that work for. I mean, okay. So making forgiveness is actually, I'm gonna talk about it a bit.
Yeah, tell us about it.
It's a puzzle game. By the way, it's gonna be on sale very soon if you guys want that.
Link down
Um,
below.
this game is and obviously my indie game. I made it alone, and it's an escape room game that you've played exactly a year ago. By the way, in October, that's when I
Really?
first. Yeah, we have our year anniversary. That's how you say that. When you play that on Feedback Friday on October last year, and it was fun getting some actual feedback. And then that was the point that I was like, yeah, I need more of that. I need more feedback. So I started sending out the copies for everyone to give me feedback on the game. So the game is an escape room that is based on your personality. You take a personality quest, and then you get one of the 7 deadly sins that you are most guilty of, and the room is designed based on that. Yeah. Okay.
So, okay. So let me just say before I ask a question, this game, Forgiveness, when I first played it, I was being my clueless self. I had no idea what I was doing, right? I was just like, I don't know what the hell to do. And you iterated on it. You made it much, much better. I didn't really understand this whole escape room thing, but it's funny because the first time I played it, I had never been to an escape room before. I had never done anything like that. I cut to a while later after you iterated on it quite a bit. My girlfriend Nicole had taken me to a few escape rooms. I got that. She was here when I played it again, and we actually played it together on stream, and she was addicted to it. She could not stop playing it. She asked me after we got off stream, she wanted to play all the rooms. She wanted to go back and like go through every single one. We systematically went through every single room. And that one I was like, whoa, that's like, I've never seen that. I've never seen a game from Feedback Friday do that. You know what I mean? So I was like, okay, this is awesome.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, it was. She's still like and she went through all of the other games too on Steam of that same type. Like you inspired her for the whole genre of games. That's pretty awesome. Now I want to ask. So Forgiveness, it took you how long total?
I was released in June, and the game was released in February. So about 8 months, something like that. Maybe 9 because I started working a bit more. I don't know, something around 8 to 9 months.
And you were doing this
non-stop,
full time.
full time,
Okay.
8 a.m. to 12 p.m. I don't use a.m. and p.m. But
there you go. Your schedule doesn't matter, right? As long as you're getting the hours in. So what was your mental state like? Did you maintain the positive headspace that whole time, or?
I wish I could tell you that. I truly do wish that I can tell you that everything was fine and I was happy and doing great. No, it took me so long and so much time from me that family and friends. It's a huge problem, but I talk to every single one of my friends that I truly care about, and I told them that I just can't. I have to do this. I have I obviously see them now all the time. Yeah, I got more time now and I can be with my family and be with my friends. But when I did that, I was so focused that I couldn't let anything else get in the way. I had to um, do that as fast as I can. So I know if I can do it or not as my job. And if I can't, I need to find something else.
So you were looking at this like a test. Like, can you do it?
I actually did. I told my family I'm gonna take 2 years. I didn't know how long it's gonna take me. By the way, I said 2 years to make this game. And if it's gonna be big fail, then I'm gonna take the L and move on with my life. But if not, I'm gonna go full time on that.
So, I mean, the reason why I bring that up too is because a lot of people, you hear these stories, and I especially like with American culture, I'm not really sure how it is elsewhere, but like a lot of people in the United States will glorify the, oh, you quit your job and you worked solid for 12 hours a day for this many months and like great for you, and then you did it. But like a lot of people don't realize how hard and how bad things can get and how relationships can fall by the wayside and how your focus can literally cut people out of your life and how it can affect your mental headspace and all that stuff. Is there anything that you went through during that whole development process you want to share just to bring awareness, this kind of thing?
I mean, I have no problem with sharing that. I gained weight. I didn't have time to make a normal meal, so I did eat like a person. I went to a table and ate. I know some people don't have time even for sitting just on their dinner table and just eat and taking that to their computer. But no, I just didn't care what I was gonna eat. Just something fast. I mean, I was seeing my friends like once a month. It was. It was hard for me, for them. They are close friends, and they want me to succeed. But it's they worry about you in some point, and they're right.
Yeah, I went through something similar with photophobia and stuff. It was just people just dropped out of my life, and like I would like see text messages on my phone, and like, okay, I'm gonna reply to that, and then not, and then 2 days goes by and I'm like, okay, now it's weird to reply to it. And then like, it's just, you know what I mean? And then, okay, now I haven't talked to him in a week. Is it weird if I just say hi and ignore the 10 things they've asked me? Yeah, dude, it gets complicated. But negative stuff aside, because I think that's one of the commonalities of a lot of indie game development. It is hard. It's very difficult to do. And it's not just difficult from a technical perspective. It's difficult from an emotional perspective.
But it is possible.
Oh, it's very possible. Totally. And I think you're living proof of that. So that being said, let's talk a little bit about that. Let's talk about the things you were doing leading up to launch, some of the things you learned maybe, and the game and how it went.
Okay, so before I was launching the game, I had this this thing in my head that I was like, man, I should get a publisher. So I started mailing a lot of publishers, and nobody wanted my game because my trailer was bad. It was so bad, man. I actually ended up hiring someone at the end to make myself a trailer because it's important. It's like the first thing you see. But they just didn't want to play my game. I can tell that they don't want to, and some of the publishers are just horrible. They I mean, they act like they played it, which is kind of disgusting. Just tell me that you're not interested. So I was like, okay, publishers, maybe not. Maybe I can pay someone to do marketing for me. So that's PR, public relations. So I was like, oh my god, that is fantastic. I don't have to do marketing. I can just do the game and that's it. That's fantastic. And no, it's not, because it's not how it works. You pay those guys to send emails that you can send yourself, by the way. They say that they have personal connection and all of that, but can you prove that? You can't. So yeah, I paid for a PR that will do the help, but I'm gonna share my tip, my hack. I don't know
Let's do it.
if you've seen that, but Soda Poppin played my game, and then Frozen played my game, and XQC played my game. A lot of big Twitch live streamers played my game, and loved it.
That's
That's a
awesome.
big yeah. That's important because they play a lot of silly games that they like to make fun of. But no, the fact that they actually played it seriously with their viewers, um, that meant a lot for me because it was insane. And the hack is that I I did something a bit out of the norm to contact them. I mean, probably someone else done that. I'm sure I didn't invent the wheel there, but I joined the Soda Pop in Discord and I talked to his mod. I was like, I sent him a key to my game. Can you add it to your list? Because Soda Poppin has his list of games that he's interested to watch that his mod does. Okay, so you really need to do some digging, and then Soda Poppin takes this list that his mod create, and then he use the marble game. I don't know if you know this. Like, it's a game that you choose names for the marbles, and then they race, and the marble that wins, that's the game he's gonna play. So we added forgiveness. It's a cool game that the Twitch streamers use to choose what game they're gonna play. So by luck, he started to play that, and I guess he uploaded to his channel. So I guess other Twitch streamers watch that. So that's how it got the ball rolling. So I didn't just send an email like everyone, because when I did and he didn't respond, I joined the Discord and I talked to the mod. If you can get in the community somehow, that's the best way. That's the best approach. To do that. I did the same thing with the Sweet Alinity when the whole PewDiePie thing blew up with her, and I've seen her gameplays, and I've seen that she's interested in those types of games. So I joined. I talked to the mod. He was like, "Yeah, sure, let's do it." And I even gave them some keys to give away. It was a fun live stream, and I recommend that so much to everyone. Just talk to the people personally, not only just by email. Just try to send a message everywhere: Twitter, email. If you can, send them a pigeon. I don't know. Just do everything. Do everything.
I think you hit on something that's really, really important these days, because a lot of people, what they end up doing is they spam generic emails to generic lists, right? That's just kind
doesn't
of
work. Yeah. Doesn't work.
And because everybody does that. And so, like, especially as a content creator myself, and you probably get some too, like, people will just send you emails and you can tell the ones where, like, okay, this person actually
knows me.
Yeah, they know me. They've maybe seen a video of mine, and then this person, this is a generic PR email that like, I get emails to play games, and I've never played a game on my channel.
Yeah.
Like, okay, I don't understand that. But no, I can totally see that working. And what's interesting is, like, you take the 5 minutes to actually familiarize yourself and actually care about these people, right? Because they're people too. Content creators are people too. You can go in their Discord, you can learn a little bit about their community and how it works, and actually, get in there. That's a fantastic tip, dude.
Yeah.
Reddit works the same way, by the way. Reddit, a lot of people, they'll just spam their shit on Reddit, and that's not how it works. You have to join the community. You have to understand what this community is about, or what these people like, and all this stuff, and then give them that content rather than just buy my shit, buy my shit, buy my shit, buy my shit, buy my shit,
I'm sure you've seen some of my posts on Reddit. I like to just talk to these guys. It's very important to establish yourself in a subreddit. That it's important for you to publish yourself. You talk about, if it's a game dev subreddit, then you talk about I made a subreddit post about the list of questions you should ask yourself before you make a new game, that a commercial game, yeah. And a lot of people joined and shared their ideas, and I'm sure a lot of them went to my profile and seen my other posts just by doing that.
Yeah, I think adding value is a really important part of that. And the problem with spamming your shit everywhere to generic lists is that it doesn't actually add value. You're trying to take,
Yeah.
right? But going in communities, trying to be a part of things, adding value to people's lives, I think that's a better form of marketing. So you launched Forgiveness. You went around to these different streamers. Did you learn anything else? Because this was your first like actual launch outside of the one you partnered with a content creator for, right?
I mean, this is my first commercial launch, and I learned a lot. We can talk all night about that. And we even talked a bit before about all the Steam tips and how Steam works, which I would love to talk about you to share that with everyone. But the other things that I want to tell you guys, if you go to the Forgiveness page, you're going to see a tiny award from DreamHack Summer that I was there in Sweden. And that was a pretty big deal for me because I just sent an email. I swear, this was like the "this can never happen" email that I just sent them because the voting was closed. You went to the website and I was like, oh my god, there's a DreamHack Summer for indie games in Sweden, like in 2 months. That's awesome, but it's closed, or maybe it was a month, I don't know. But the submission is closed. But I was like, okay, I'm gonna send an email, anyway. Maybe they have an open booth, maybe, you don't know. So I sent it, and I got like 15 minutes later, instant replied, okay, come. Something like this. Sure, I'm gonna send you the contact.
Wow.
So don't do it. Don't go to an event that you don't know what you're going to, because that was my point. Don't do that, because DreamHack, it's fantastic. It's awesome. I'm not gonna lie. It's you come, you see some games, but you don't show indie games there. Nobody cares about indie games at DreamHack. Okay, that is not the place to showcase your game, because I mean, I was there, I showed it, I got some people playing it, some people bought it, email list, all of that, but nobody is actually there to play games, to play new games. They came to boot camp with their friends, see some Counter-Strike tournament, buy some gear, and that's it. They are not there to watch the indie showcase. So
Right.
just know where you're going before you buy the tickets. That's it.
So did that cost you anything for the booth?
Electricity.
Oh, you had to pay for that, and then they hooked you up with the rest, with like the whole.
I mean, it's a station that you just stand there. I had to bring my own, laptop and all of that, and I use my phone internet because I needed that to connect, and that's it. It was a fun experience. I'm not gonna lie. I had an amazing time meeting the guys from Landfall that made. If you guys don't know, they are amazing indie games studio from Sweden. They made Cluster Truck and Stickman Fight and totally
Tabs.
something tabs. Yeah. I'm not sure how you say the full name. And I
Totally
met
accurate battle simulator.
yeah. And I met the composer there, and he was awesome. And he invited me to his office in Stockholm, and it was super cool. Game devs are such nice people. It's amazing. So it wasn't a complete waste to go there, but just know where you're going.
See,
That's it.
You know what's interesting? Because like I've been to a few events in my time, and I've observed the same exact thing that you're saying. And it's funny because every once in a while you see a video, or you see a blog post up, how to market for your indie game. It's like, go to events. Have you ever been to some of these? Because if you're talking about, like, especially if you're buying a booth, like, Jesus, man, you're talking about $1,500, $2,000, like, for a booth, and then you got to make that back on your $10 or $20 game. Marketing wise, no, but networking, events, like all kinds, meeting these people that have these connections, getting seen, creating lifelong relationships, that stuff you can never really measure the value of, right?
Yeah, that's priceless. I mean, some of the advice that I'm sharing here or on my channel, I got from the devs I met there. I met so many cool people there that we ended up following each other on Twitter and then having conversations and sharing GDC, live streams and all of that. It's amazing how you can connect with people instantly when you have the same interest, because you know what you're talking about, and
Yeah.
it's fun.
It gets past that barrier of like, because I've always been kind of an introvert too, and it's like when I'm in a room full of people I don't know, I just kind of be quiet. But if I'm talking to a game developer, hey, we got plenty to talk about. Let's talk about all the different things. So that's cool too. Would you consider yourself generally a social person?
It's difficult. As a detective, you can't be an introvert. You just can't. So I'm not an introvert. I'm just more of a home person. I like to stay at my home with my friends or go to a bar, but not a party. That's not my cup of tea. But usually just meeting up in like calm places. I'm not the guy to get drunk, maybe have a whiskey, and that's it. Not a party animal. That's not my.
You
my
feel
thing.
like you learned how to be an extrovert?
Yeah.
You had to like learn it.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I think a lot of us are like that. Like for me, definitely. Like I feel like I've had to learn it because I didn't get it by default. I had to like study it. Like, okay, this person's talking to that person over there. What are they saying? Like that whole deal. The reason why I bring that up is because I wanted to ask: was it hard to go to an event like that by yourself, or like?
I wasn't by myself.
Oh, you didn't go by yourself. Okay.
Yeah.
Who'd you go with?
You're gonna be surprised, but my father is an amazing person, super genuine and caring guy. That he helped me financially. Both my parents, yes, they are both awesome. And my father was like, "Let's go together.
That's
Let's do it."
awesome.
And we went there and we did it together and we showcased it together, and the guy get up early with me, and we are carrying our stuff and we're taking it to the booth, and we reset up it every morning, because we didn't want to leave our stuff there. It was kind of funny. We were the only ones that packing up our stuff and opening it, because we don't trust nobody. Yeah. We don't know. So it was awesome. He helped me a lot, and we was like, yeah, we're in Sweden. Let's just hang out a bit. We'll see some cool places. So yeah, he loves traveling. So we made a father-son trip out of
That's
that.
so cool. That's so cool. So okay, so you did DreamHack. Was this before or after the launch of Forgiveness?
After. That was also so stupid. Nobody cares about games that are launched, man. Nobody. It's amazing. The press, if you've seen any press, and there was almost no press at all, they don't care about it. Because the game is launched. Nobody
Isn't that weird? Like it's the same game pre-launch and after launch, but after launch it's just like, it's already out.
I don't care. But I did had a nice experience going up on the big stage. I don't know if you've seen that. DreamHack, they do a live stream and give each indie developer, like a 15-minute show to talk about their game. So that was awesome, and the live stream of the official DreamHack user also. You can see that on Twitch. I mean, and a live audience. So that was cool. Getting up on the stage, some developers were a bit afraid, understandably, big stage, but it was awesome. I love stages. I love getting there and talk about what I love. So
that's awesome. So okay, from what we talked about earlier, it seemed like a lot of your lessons and marketing stuff actually came after the launch of Forgiveness. Is that accurate?
Yeah, it is. I mean, I probably lost so much revenue that I could have if I knew what I know now.
I think everybody can say that, though.
When I think about that, I mean, I could have made like 4 times, 5 times more. That's you have to, no matter what. This is a big tip, and you probably know that. You have to check the percentage of the sales you have per 1,000 views. And you can do that easily on Steam, so you know what works and what not. I told you about it like 3 times by now on when we talked about on Twitch, that I erased some stuff and the sales goes higher. I mean, I erased the demo and I got more sales. I erased some lines. I did it like a short paragraph that really sums up everything and not just like a big scroll of things. And that made the game better. I changed the screenshots. I added tags. That's all the tips that I have. Yeah. I can go into that if you like to.
People, first of all, people should just rewind this video about 30 seconds, and everything that he just took a second on, seriously focus on, because you scrolled over it. But that's
I can talk about that.
Let's go into detail for those.
Okay.
So, okay. Let's start from like what's one of the first few things that you learned that where you actually saw a difference on your stats?
Tags.
Tags. Okay. What about tags specifically on Steam?
You have to use all the tags. You have 15 tags. Use all of them and try to find rare tags. That means that tags that people use, but not so much. Okay, so if you have an immersive game, use the word immersive as a tag. Don't use FPS and all of that. I have no idea the tags that everyone uses, but the ones that you see everywhere, like puzzle and all of that, use them if you need to, if you have more space. But if you can find something, like I found a detective, I found the tag detective, or thriller, the tag thriller, and that was on some day it was the top of the tags. Thriller, my game was on the top of the tag.
Wow.
Which is insane to think, but that's only because nobody uses that tag. So
right.
Try to find something.
It's a good balance between volume and not one that's not like, it's got enough searches to where it's helpful, but it doesn't have so much volume that it's like you'll get buried.
You have to do both, and there is a very specific reason for that, because you have to use the website. You should put that in the description and use that yourself. There's a website that's called Steamlikes, I think, steamlikes.com, that shows you where your game is being shown on the similar games. So if you go there and put your game, you can see how the tags work, and if you did it right, you will find some games that are similar. So if you can, look at other games that are similar to yours and look at what tags they have. So the Steambot can connect your games to theirs, so when someone is on their page, your game will come up. And if you have a rare tag, then your game can show up on those rare tags. If some of those indie games uses them both, you can kind of like help each other. Okay, so and you get shown in more pages. So that's how it works. You need to use both of them.
What do you think is more important, relevance or volume?
To be honest, volume.
Really?
Yeah,
because not what I thought you were going to say.
Yeah. Because when you have on Steam, people buy, because I'm gonna tell you why. It's only on Steam works like that. Because on Steam you have the 2 hours refund mechanic, that if you don't like the game, you can refund it instantly, no problem, in 2 hours. So a lot of people just buy the game to refund it later. I mean, a lot of people don't actually care about buying games. They don't actually think about buying them. They're like, I'm gonna test the game. If I'm gonna like it, then I'm gonna buy it. So I'm sure that I got a lot of refunds. Yes, a lot. People just buy it to refund.
You don't have any numbers on that, do you? Like generally where that's at?
You want me to check?
I mean, it was probably gonna take too long. But I just, if you had them off the top of your head,
I guess about 1,000 refunds.
Okay. How does that? Do you have any percentage generally in like how that works out with your sales?
I mean, if I'm gonna say the percent, you can easily do the math.
Okay, all right. So,
Easily do the math.
So,
it's not a
would you say
big
it's a lot?
percentage.
It's not a big. Okay.
No.
But you think that's generally the mentality on how people think? Like they think if they're going to try a game versus buy a game on Steam.
Yes, I truly do. They think that.
So that being said, how do you think your first 2 hours of your game is really important?
It's the most important thing you can ever do. If your demo to the game is boring, nobody will wishlist it, and if your intro to your full game is boring, everyone will refund that. So you're gonna have to do both when you do a demo and when you do a full launch. Because if you are gonna do a demo and like close the story, then people will be like, okay, goodbye. But if you leave them something to want more, they will wishlist it. And I should have done that also.
Actually, let's talk about that real quick, because my experience, and generally my experience with this stuff is kind of outdated at this point, but my experience with demos has actually been that it will reduce sales. But you're saying the opposite. You're saying your demo bumped up your sales.
No. When the game launched, it reduced the sales for sure.
Okay.
But you should open a Steam page as soon as possible. And you should upload a demo as soon as possible, and you should encourage them to wishlist the game as soon as possible. And when the game is out, you need to remove that demo so it's not playable anymore. So their only option, I know it sounds kind of shitty, but if they don't like it, they can refund it. Yeah, the only option is to buy the game, because a lot of people just gonna play the demo and be like, I'm gonna buy it tomorrow, and then they don't.
Well, the demo can kind of scratch that itch of like the wonder, right? Like, I wonder what this game is, and then you play the demo. Oh, this is what this game is. I don't really need to. I don't need to buy that. I already know what it is. It's kind of. So that's interesting. That's an interesting strategy. So you use the demo before launch to get a little more views on your Steam page, and then you remove it at launch and launch without a demo.
So that is the demo part. The discussion forum is super important, and nobody ever uses that, because I mean, developers don't use that. Communication is key for everything. I got so much negative reviews at first. If you look to my Steam page, you can see people found some weird bugs, man. That happened only in Linux, and I don't have Linux, so I had to go to a friend's house. And I mean, they found some huge weird problems with Unity, and I don't know. It was so weird, so I had to add them to my friends list and work with them while I figure out a solution. The Linux community is amazing. These people, they so want games for their platform. So I think I talked to this guy for like 2.5 hours. The guy that did the negative review for the game. And then it was like a movement glitch. The camera shaked for some weird reason. And when it got fixed, he instantly changed it, and he said a lot of nice things. So communication is key, and one of those ways is to open up a sticky discussion on the discussion forum and use that to talk about your game, because nobody wants a scroll on your front page, but the discussion page is when people get in all the info that they want, that they are more interested, or they actually bought the game and they want more info now. So everything you should put in the discussion page. So again, the main page should be clean, summary page, and the backside is the discussion forum where you can talk about everything that you want, your plans, Q&A, like the most questions that you get, and the answers, like when the game will be released, if it's a demo, and all of that. And just use this tab to communicate, because it's so important for reviews, and reviews are important as well. I got so much to talk about it.
Let's pause right there though. So let's go back to discussion forums. So you're saying most developers don't actually use these at all?
Yeah, indie games.
Indie games don't use them.
Yeah, nobody uses that actually.
So so your kind of strategy over lots of iteration, because that's we didn't really touch on too. You've changed and iterated and made this better and better and better, and you've improved your sales over time. That's how you got to this stuff.
to 5%.
That's okay. That's a big change. Let me tell you, from someone that used to work in marketing and conversion.
It is.
From cold traffic, that's huge. Like people
yeah, it is. I just wanted to reiterate, it is cold traffic. It's just from Steam. Now the game is practically dead. I mean, games don't live that long, and it's still getting a good salary for me from just cold views from Steam. That's it.
And that's awesome. Great. I think that should be everybody's goal. So what you're saying is you basically strip the front page of, like, you don't put a ton of info there. You put small little blurbs for your descriptive text and all that stuff, but then you use the discussion forum to add all the other context, talk about bugs, talk about features and roadmaps and all that stuff.
Exactly, because people buy the game because of the trailer. Then they don't usually look. I mean, I had some super interesting stats from the Google Analytics, because you can connect it. And when I first had like the 1% thingy, then people stuck around my page for like 2.5 minutes and then just leave. And when I removed all of that, people bought the game after 30 seconds of being in the page. That means they've seen the trailer and that's it, they bought it.
Okay, so you went from 2.5 minutes general page views, nobody doing anything, to like people buying within 30 seconds?
Within 30 seconds, they see the trailer, they scroll down, they read a couple lines, and then they buy it. That's it.
All right, so let's go specific. The specific changes you made to get from that point, from 2.5 minutes of, oh, this game's interesting, to like 30 seconds buy button. What did you change? Yeah. The trailer and the blurb,
trailer,
the main thing?
Trailer, blurb. Oh man, I changed a lot. Yes.
You did.
It's the final. It's the final cut that is the 30 seconds. But the main info is the screenshots. I had shitty screenshots. I mean,
so what defines good screenshots, though? So everybody knows, because there's an indie game developer watching this, and they think their screenshots are good, but how do they tell if they're bad?
Okay, if they're bad quality, if it crops around the angles, that's a bad image. Okay, my images got cropped on the top, like the two. They got borders.
Oh, because they're not the right.
Because
ratio.
You screenshot it not in game because you're too lazy, so you screenshot it from the editor, and it looks bad. Just use the right resolution, and maybe if you use Unity, easily post-processing. It's not cheating. It just makes the screenshot look good. Don't feel bad about it. I was like, no, I'm not gonna edit this video. This is what they're gonna get. And I mean, nobody cares if I'm adding a vignette or just a little bit more saturation. It's not like it's not what the game is, and the gameplay is the most important thing. I'm not trying to sell the new Call of Duty or something with the amazing graphics. So just do good screenshots, something that you would love to see, something that is interesting. Don't show a wall. I was like, yeah, this wall and this door, it's so interesting. What is behind that wall? Nobody cares.
So you're saying you shouldn't just take 5 seconds, hit print screen, and then upload it?
No, definitely not. Take a long time. Choose your screenshots and make a good trailer. Just take, 10 days. Don't feel bad about it. I'm not even joking. 10 days. Edit your video, remove it, delete everything, edit it again, remove all the video editing that you got, and then record everything again, and then do it again.
There's gonna be somebody out there like, oh, I don't need to do that. I just put my trailer in 20 minutes and it's all good. It's perfect. No, listen, the person that just said that in their brain, listen to this.
I changed my trailer 4 times.
And did you see an improvement with each, or did you ever go back? Okay. So what kind of changes did you make to the trailer?
The length, the music. At the first, I'm sure you remember the first trailer. It was like you hear the entire speech of the psycho that is kidnapping you. You hear everything, and it's just like cinematic, and it's like, ooh, what's there, and spooky, and a lot of people thought it was a horror game. I was like, no, it has a spooky environment because you're being kidnapped, but there are no jump scares. And I even stupidly added that to the info. I was like, this is not a horror game. I don't know what you guys think is a horror game, something like that. Just prettier. Um, and it was totally my fault. I made it look like it's a horror game. Because again, people don't read so much. They like go through it a bit, but they don't read every single detail. So they just see the trailer. Okay, this is like spooky, so it's probably a horror game. So I changed that, and then I took some more like post processing, more intense shots. Then I was like, "Yo, I'm making this video." I showed it to my friend. How did I know that it was bad? I showed my new trailer to my friend. I was like, "Yo, check out this trailer. I made it. It's so cool. I worked on it for like a day." And then he sees it, and like in around 1 minute, I see him pulling out his phones to see the time. I mean, he's a good friend. He doesn't want to be mean. I mean, but that he did it for a second just to check what's the time, because we were sitting and it's got pretty late. But that moment, I realized that, damn, this video trailer is boring. I mean, I go for this cinematic and interesting vibe, but nobody got time for that. So in the final version, that I actually paid someone to do it, because I wasn't so good at editing. I'm way better now. Because I got a bit of practice. You can't do something. If you're good at something, do it. Don't do the stuff that you don't do. I'm not modeling anything. I buy them. I buy specific models, and I buy music, and I buy voice actors. You can hear my accent. I can't voice act anything, and you need to know that you can't be sensitive about stuff that you are not good at. That's fine. Nobody's perfect, and if you work alone, you will never. I'm sorry, you will never be perfect at everything. You can't. You just can't. So so I paid someone, and I told him, I want this. You see this trailer? Don't do that. Do the opposite. I want this to be epic, and I want this to be in their face. And I want the psycho. I do want like a question like what this game's gonna be about, and a bit of mystery in. So I was like, put this clip and this clip and this sound from the psycho talking, and just end it with like a big bang of can you escape or something like this, like a very call to action, buy it now, escape now, all of that. And it made a huge difference. Add the reviews, I got some amazing reviews, like an escape room into this dream, one of the best indie game one of the best indie games of 2019. Amazing stuff people wrote about the game, so I added it. I even said a one-man project, so people will know that it's just one man. It's a bit more impressive. People think that nobody cares about it, but it's not. People love the indie devs, people, because the big companies keep, I don't want to curse, but they don't do nice stuff to their customers. So people love indie games, and when they see it, they were like, "Yeah, support indie devs, do it, buy the game."
So how long was that final trailer?
30 seconds.
30 seconds.
Something like this.
So 2.5 minutes to 30 seconds.
Yeah.
And from a horror vibe to more of an escape room vibe.
To more like a thriller, escape room, get out now, survive for your life, go, you have to do it now. It is a puzzle, you have to escape, but it's not chilled and mellow. I'm gonna talk about why I kidnapped you and who I am and all of that. No, it's like right there in your face. Ain't nobody got time for that, and so that meme, and ain't nobody got time for that. And just get to the point. Just get to the point. Show it in a good way, and use a good music. Take the music and then put the stuff on it. Don't
agree.
do it other ways. The other side, it's not working.
30-second trailer. A lot of people would say that's too short, but you're saying you increase your conversion quite a bit by going super short and straight to the point.
It probably is too short for some people. It depends, for sure.
Is that the only video you have on your Steam page? Just that?
I think so.
Okay. Because I know there's some people that are putting multiple videos on these days.
Yeah, I tried that. I'm guessing that because my second trailer was such poor quality, you can see the ones that I made and the one that he made. So I was like, nah, I'm just going to remove that one. It's okay to put two, like one big like in your face, and another one that just showing the environment and a bit telling more the story. That can work, but it can also pull you down if you don't have something so impressive. So you gotta test. You gotta see if the conversion rate take like a week each time, and you can do it. By the way, you can do it before the launch. You can do it with the demo. It's gonna be a lot higher percentage because it's free, but it's still gonna work if you convert it with the demo stats. It's still gonna work, so you can do it even before launch.
So you can actually test your video and trailer and stuff with a demo and check the conversion and all that stuff, and actually work on your conversion rate, because that's what you're talking about. We haven't really said that, but like,
yes.
You know your number. You know you get 1,000 people, and then you get X amount of those people to download the demo or buy the game. And what you're trying to do is actively improve that number, making a change, waiting a week, seeing what happens. If the number goes up, you keep it. If the number goes down, you remove it, right?
Yes. And I got something that you maybe gonna disagree about it, but I think that I think that even if you have a following like you do, you shouldn't post it like on your YouTube channel, on your main platform first, because if you want to test your stats, you can't put your audience there first. You can like post on your Twitter and something like that, and then start the testing like a week after, because you want to know the cold views that Steam gives you, and then test it. You don't want to mix up your audience and cold views, because it's not the same.
Yeah, that's an important point. That's a very important point. If you have an existing audience, you have your friends or your mom or whatever, showing them the trailer is not the same thing as showing a cold person the trailer. And watching what they do with pure numbers is way more valuable than listening to what people say. Because I guarantee you send your friend the trailer, what are they going to say? It's great. It's awesome. It's cool. Yep. Okay, but like a person that's never met you before, never seen your game, when they see that, do they click the buy button? That's what's important. Right?
Do they say bad things about it? That's
do they talk shit about it? So a lot of people, they don't think from that context. They're like, well, I showed it to my friend and they said it was good.
It doesn't work like that. I actually think that Reddit and Steam users, they are the best resource, because they don't know you, they don't care, they don't even know that you're an indie dev if you don't disclaimer it somewhere. So they just tell you right there. So that's why discussion forum is super important, because at the end of the demo you can link it there, or link a Google form or something to let people know that they can tell your opinion. But don't just put it at the end, put it everywhere in the menu, everywhere, because the only people that get to the end is the one that liked it, or the one that didn't have any issues. But you need to link it everywhere. So on the discussion forum, on the main menu, on the options menu before they click on exit, everywhere you should put that link to get some feedback, because this is such an important part, because they just don't care about you. They're just gonna tell you the truth, and you need that.
That's another important point, though, is catching the feedback before it hits a negative review. Right?
Exactly.
You want to catch it ahead of time.
I gotta say that I actually I had to remember saying that Steam is holding back the achievements at first, which is terrible, because a lot of people filter out the games by achievements. That's something else I did. I added achievements and I got raised by like 0.5%, because people love games with achievements for some reason. So when I added that, I got instantly higher percentage. So
did your views go up, or your just conversion went up?
The views.
Oh,
the views go up.
Wow.
The cold views go up because people filter games with achievements. So do that, but Steam is holding back the achievements from them until you have 1,000 purchases, like people buying your game, and 20 reviews. Doesn't matter negative or positive.
Really? So
yes.
They don't allow you to have achievements in your game until you have 1,000 purchases and 20 reviews.
You can enter. You have your Steam page up?
Not yet, no. I'm the worst example of this.
I mean, no, I mean the private one. The private one.
Yeah, I've got it
you
up.
can if you go there, you can see that it has like where's the achievements should be. It says Steam is still learning about this game.
Okay.
And that means that you don't have achievements or trading card, which is important.
Trading cards too?
Yeah, people filter. I don't think by much, but people filter achievements and trading cards.
Trading cards are super simple to do though, right? You just add an image.
Everything is super simple. Just the first time that you upload the files to Steam, it's like a day job of understanding what they did. But when you get there and you upload for the first time, it's easy. And making achievements, it's easy. It's one code, one line of code for Unity developers, and the same for trading card. I guess I just didn't do it, so I can't tell you.
It's funny you say about the upload thing because I got my game on finally uploaded to Steam, finally working, and like the video tutorial is weird. Then you gotta do this command line thing, and it's like, oh you gotta do all that. And then after I did all that, I spent like 4 hours doing it all. There's like a browse for a zip file, and you just upload it, and I was like, why don't the video tutorial show that?
Because it's old. Because it's super old, man. I watched it and it was like low resolution for me for some reason, and I missed how do you say that? The sparky sign, like the 8 one. How do you say that?
The star?
Yeah, the star. I missed that star in a script that is saying take everything inside that folder. It just kept uploading the folder with nothing inside, and I didn't know why, because I missed this star. Because the videos are so old, but luckily and here's another tip. There is a chat, forum chat for game developers in Steam. It's like a Steam group, and people are very active there, and they help you.
Oh, that's good to know.
Yeah, they help you if you have any issues. They're great guys. You can just go there. When you sign up with Steam, you get invited there instantly. So you can do that and talk to other developers.
Okay, so trailer, initial blurb, screenshots, all that stuff is super important. Was there ever, first of all, and you recorded your stats too. We should note the importance of that. Actually, you hooked it with Google Analytics, right?
I did, but I think it got like demolished somehow. I'm not sure how. But actually, the stats are basically everything for every step. I got like a 0.5%. Every step that I did, like 0.5%. So it's huge changes when you do something right. Maybe I'm just lucky. I don't know. It's still my first time.
But a lot of people, I think that's a better mindset to adopt, though, is like, okay, this is the baseline, right? Let's change something. Did we do better or did we do worse? If we did better, keep it there, change something else. If we did worse, put it back, try something different, right? Like that's a more scientific approach to marketing. And a lot of people think of marketing as this thing you just do and you spam a bunch of people, but like actually monitoring the numerical value of all the changes that you make is a better approach, I think.
It is. You have to think about your audience. At the end of the day, you see what those audience like. It's a bit like a bit stalkery, but you can see that the type of Twitch streamers. You can see how they react, because a lot of people like to live stream your game. Exactly, especially when you launch it, so you can see how they react. What is their age? If they like it, if they don't like it, where they are from the earth. You can see it from the Steam stats. It gives you a lot of info. Steam gives you tons of info about your customers, and you should definitely check that every time. And you should never, and I'm saying that now because I know some people will have that idea, or I can see where they're from. I can just post Facebook ads to those type of people, but don't do that. Don't ever do that, because your indie game usually don't cost so much, like between 5 to 15 dollars, which I will talk about with you later. And the cost of the ads is way higher. You should give them $1 and don't give them the game, because you're gonna lose more money. So don't do ads. Doesn't work.
That's another thing, is a lot of people are like, oh, well, it's only $1 a click. Yeah, but you got to understand the conversion rate, okay? If your conversion rate is 3%, which is still good,
It's amazing.
That's 100 people you need for 3 sales. So that's $100, and if your game's $10, you get 30. That's a good way to burn through your money.
It is.
People don't get that.
You know, when we first talk about my game, and I told you that I'm gonna sell it for $10, you told me, I'm pretty sure you told me that's a bad idea. Sell it lower.
Sell it
You were
lower?
like, yeah, I think sell it higher.
Yeah, I probably said sell it higher. I was gonna say
sell it
I don't think
higher.
I said sell it lower.
Sell it higher. And I actually think that I could have make more sales if I would have pushed it to $5.
Really?
I do.
Let's
And I'm
talk
gonna
about
tell
that.
you
Why?
on Steam, only on Steam, because a lot of people, again, you have to check the platform that you post it. A lot of people just go to the under $5 page, and that's where they buy the games. They don't care about the other places of Steam. They just want a $5 game. And I'm sure you did it too. I did it. Everyone wants like, oh, I got like this $5 leftovers. I'm gonna buy something, and they do it to that page. So it has a positive and a negative. You get way higher cold views, but when you do a sale, it's like, why even do it? It doesn't even matter. The only difference is when you do a sale, Steam automatically sent an email to everyone on your wish list, which is awesome. But when Steam take 30% and you have a $5 game and you do a sale, what are you left with?
Yeah.
You got nothing. You got peanuts.
I agree. So my philosophy on that is definitely to charge higher. And actually, with my new game Cypherpunk, I'm actually considering the $20 price range. So it'll be a good experiment.
It will be. Maybe I'm gonna learn something else. I don't know.
We'll see, because my philosophy, and again, this is just from my experience. It could be totally wrong, but generally, there's not a one-to-one correlation between price and sales. So, like, if you have a $10 game and you charge 20 instead, that doesn't mean that you're going to get half as many sales, right? It's not one-to-one. So even if, let's say you get less sales, but you're making twice as much money per sale, you're still making more money, right? Yes. But then again, the opposite philosophy also makes sense. Islanders was $5. That game blew the fuck up.
So huge, man.
It was massive.
Jonas is first of all, he's an amazing dude.
I'm so happy for him. Because I told him the same thing on launch night too. He was like, we were talking about the Steam page, and I was like, $5. That's kind of low.
It's kind of low. What are you doing?
And then I was like, all right, I'll shut the fuck up. Nope, not gonna.
He is amazing, man. He is such a nice guy too. I mean, he doesn't know who I am. I didn't tell him I did that and that. I just sent him an email telling him. I sent him a Discord chat telling him great job on that. And I just wanted to know, did he do something important? Don't be afraid to ask anyone. Did he do something to get the press to cover his game? Because I just couldn't. The press that reviewed my game, they just did it by themselves. But I couldn't get anyone to review my game. I don't know what I did wrong there. Later, I started sending more professional-looking emails, and I even did a video on how you can do that because I used the mail tracker plugin, and I've seen that people respond more when the email had a huge GIF on the front and it got like colors on the sides, and there's a Steam key. The first thing they see is the Steam key, and then they see some text trailer and all of that. I did a full video on how you can do that, and it's amazing the difference.
Do you generally get responses, or do you just get people that play it, like on YouTube?
Usually I don't get responses. I put everything on a notepad, not a notepad, and a file. How
Like a
do you say that?
spreadsheet?
You use it for tracking your games. How do you call that?
Spreadsheet, yeah, like the columns and
Spreadsheet.
stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, that Word have, that Microsoft have. Excel. Use Excel, and I did a tiny program in Unity that I took the Excel page and I upload it to the program, and it just gives me all the links. It opened all the links for Steam to check, because you need to go manually and check each key. So I did this like tiny program that opens all of the keys. I just insert that, and then I need to check if someone insert the key, and then I just change it in the spreadsheet. So you do it half manual, half automatic if you can, and that's how you track it.
And you saw it go up as your emails got a little more
Definitely.
colorful and professional.
Definitely.
Cool. Did you track any, like, did you go looking for videos and content and stuff, or just whether the key was used?
What do you mean?
Like, you're sending these to like YouTubers or streamers?
Oh yeah. At the end of each week, I just sorted out by used. I had keys, and names, emails, YouTube list, YouTube link, Twitch link, and then another column that says videos. If they made any videos, I'm gonna put all of that videos there, so I knew who played it and who didn't.
Interesting. Okay, so you're actually keeping track of that. That's another thing a lot of people do, is they'll just send out the keys and just hope, you know?
No, you need to check, because if I do another puzzle game, I know who to send it.
Right. You have their actual info. So let's talk about that press thing real quick, because that was like, we were talking about Islanders, and Islanders got a ton of press coverage. They also got a ton of YouTube coverage and stuff too. I don't know which one of those came first, like whether the press covered it because the YouTube covered it, or how that all worked, but like, you're saying you sent out a bunch of emails to press and you just couldn't get coverage for whatever reason?
I mean, I know why.
Why?
I sent it before I changed all the stuff in my Steam page.
So it wasn't as attractive as it could have been.
It was the first version of the Steam page.
What list did you make? Your own list?
Sorry, I coughed. What do you mean?
Did you like actually research and find everybody's email all by yourself, or did you use a PR company?
No, I don't use any list. You just go and you find from Euro Games, PC Gamer, all of that. You go and you see the journalist and you read a little bit about them, and you see who likes what. You shouldn't send the key to someone that dislikes puzzle games and just gonna give you a better view. These guys are people. They're not a big. I mean, sometimes they're a big company, but it's not all of them playing it and giving like a big, huge score together. No, it's one person that plays it and publish it. So you need to check if that guy or girl likes the type of games that you produce, because if not, you're just wasting his time and your time, and you shouldn't do that.
Yeah, a tip that I picked up after a while is to search the games that are similar to yours, find the people that covered them, and send them emails.
I did that as well.
Yeah, it's a good way to like, because you can do the research, right? But you're talking about a lot of time investment to figure out who likes what and all that stuff. I think it's worth it though. I think it makes more sense than just spamming.
Yeah, luckily for me, I was like, there is no my PR wasn't that great, so I was like, no way I'm gonna let those people now, because I already paid them. I was like, no way I'm gonna let those people now interrupt with my lunch, because I'm not seeing anything so amazing about them. I was like, yo, they're gonna do it, and I'm just gonna have to code. So one morning I get up and I say, no way I'm gonna just leave it and let them do everything.
Wait, so you actually hired a PR company to do it?
Yes, I did. I did hire them, and they weren't the best. Sadly, I mean, they did their job. They corrected my grammar, which is necessary. If you don't speak English, don't try to sell your game in English, because you're not gonna do a good job. Just give someone to English grammar proof it. before you upload it, because it looks ridiculous if you don't. So I did send them, but I was like, I'm not sure I'm gonna trust these guys. I'm gonna do it myself. I'm gonna do it in the unconventional ways, and checking the emails and going to the Discord and going to live streams and talking to their mods and so many other crazy things that nobody does, just to contact people and search for similar games like you, because they do it. They search similar games, but it's not like a deep dive. And at one point, I came to my parents for lunch, and I was like, "So how it goes with the game? You're about to launch it?" And I was like, "Yeah, that sucks. I'm like 90% doing marketing." And they're like, "What? But you hired the PR company?" No, I'm still doing marketing like 90% of my time. It's so time consuming. You have to do it. And I learned to love it, actually. You have to
Really,
learn to love it. You have to. If you don't learn to love it, you're just gonna hate yourself, and you end up not gonna do it. You
it's
just
I feel the same way, because like when I started marketing, it was just kind of like, okay, I learned this stuff and then the skill happens to be valuable, so I, you know, made money off of it. But like actually learning the thing and learn, because marketing is interesting because it requires two things. One, it requires like the empathy, right, of really understanding another human being. And not a lot of people do. Not a lot of people take the time to really understand the human that they want to talk to, right? It's not just about buy my shit. It's like, okay, who is gonna find this game the most fun, right?
yeah.
And then you got to find them and put your stuff in front of them. And the beautiful part about it is you're making their day better by doing that right, right?
Yeah,
Whereas this guy that hates platformers, if I'm trying to sell him my platformer, he's annoyed as shit at me, right? Get out of here with this. I don't want this. But if I find that person that loves platformers and I get mine in front of them, I made their day better. So once you learn, because a lot of people see marketing as like this negative, oh, you got to push your shit in front of people's faces and it's so much work. But like there's a beauty to it when you do it right, when you can figure out how to like, okay, add the most value to somebody's life with your product or service.
I mean, you are so correct. A lot of people, not friends, but like people you meet online, that you tell them about what you do, they ask, why don't you just make those Chinese games that always pop up on Steam and just make a ton of money? Because everyone buys that. All you gotta do is get someone to draw like a couple of pictures and then just make the worst game ever and make a ton of money with it. And I was like, because I want to do something that I'm proud of. Because I don't want, no disrespect to any mobile developers, but there are a lot of mobile games that are just cloning and just taking money from ads, and because it's so easy, you buy ads does work with the apps, because you just buy downloads, and then over time you get the money back. But I don't want to do this. You want to do something that you're proud of. You want to do something that you can show to your friends, to your family, to I don't know, even make a shirt out of it, to make a poster out of it. Just be proud of what you're doing.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm going with do something that not just reach other people's life, but also reach yours. You want to do that.
Yeah, and I think that's actually part of the problem with marketing too, is because you've got people on both sides of the fence. You got people, okay, I want to make a game and then make $1 million, and then you got people where like, I want to pour my heart and soul into this piece of art and make something great. And the problem is, the people that want to make $1 million, they want to just put their shit out there and make money instantly, and that's not how it works. And the people that want to build all this beautiful art and stuff, they don't want to do any marketing, and that's not how it works. So
my suggestion is be in the middle.
Right. You have to, because as an artist, if you want to support yourself, you've got to learn how to sell stuff. And if you actually want to make money with games, you've got to learn how to actually add value to people's lives again. You can't just regurgitate the same shit. Sure, that may be a good short-term strategy. It's not a good long-term strategy, because you're always behind the people that are innovating. Always. You're a step behind them. You're copying their shit. Right? So I think it's definitely been a learning experience for me too, to like kind of go through that whole thing. But I think you definitely achieved that with Forgiveness. An escape room that makes you take a personality test and then puts you in an escape room based on your greatest sin.
I gotta confess, it wasn't my idea.
Really? Let's talk about the origin idea. You want to share?
Yeah, sure. I mean, the escape the room kind of thing, it was my idea, but the original idea was you go in, you do all of the 7 deadly rooms, and then you just get out, which is, by the way, stupid because you're gonna finish the game in less than 2 hours. So that's not smart. And it doesn't innovate anything because you remember those flash games of getting out of the rooms when like 20 years ago, those flash games that you're stuck in a car or in a closet and you need to get out just looking around. It kind of feels like a remaster of those games. But when I have this awesome friend that is actually studying to be a doctor, but she sometimes come here and see her families and her friend. So I took her by the sea and we ate lunch and I talked about my game. It was just about when I ended my service and started prototyping and all of that. So I talked about it. I was like, I still need a hook. I need something that's still cool, that something we'll talk about, that is personalized. And she was while you study to be a doctor, you have so many tests. So she was like, you make it take a test. And I looked at her. This girl doesn't know. She never played a game, I guess, maybe on her phone. I just looked at her. I was like, yes, you should be a game designer. This is amazing. And I was like instantly hooked by the idea of taking a test to find out what your sin is and get the room based on that. And it was hilarious because she said it like in the stupidest, I don't know what I'm saying, kind of don't judge me kind of thing. But it was an awesome advice. So that means that you can talk to anyone, even if it's not a game developer, and they can add value to a game and maybe even change that and maybe even make your game successful.
100%. I think the one of the biggest creativity mistakes a lot of people make is only taking inspiration from their genre or from their medium, right? If you can get inspiration from movies and music and nature and all this other stuff, that's great. If you can get input from people outside of the game industry, that's even better. A lot of people are like, oh, well, okay, I want to make an Alien game, but then I watched the Alien movie, and then like that's like their whole reference. So of course they make a mining game about aliens that ends up being like the same thing. But you know what's interesting about the personality test is that Nicole and I, when we played Forgiveness, not only did we have fun playing the game, but we had fun making each other play the test and then making fun of each other about our sins.
Yeah.
And when mine was pride, and she did not let that go. She was just like, okay, that's so you're fucking you. It was awesome. So that was a fantastic addition to it. That's fantastic that you did that, because that's one of those things that separated your game apart from. It's not just an escape room game. It's an escape room that gives you a personality test, and gives you your sin. That's
you
that's
can
a cool hook.
you end up playing everything. Yes, I'm
That's
not
what we
locking
did.
you out. Yeah, you end up playing everything. You're not locked out of anything. But the first time you play the game, you get this experience of, why is this guy yelling at me? What did I do?
Yeah.
So yeah, and by the way, a voice actor, please take someone that is good. If you use voice actors, take someone that is good. The voice actor that I did, a guy named Eric, amazing actor. He plays in theater for like 10 years now.
That was the preacher guy in the beginning.
Yeah, that's the guy that talks. The guy that think is God.
That was so good that like I thought you downloaded it from somewhere at first when I first played it.
No.
It was fantastic.
Yeah, I love theater, so I was like, I gotta find an actor. No way I'm letting this guy that talks like it's a radio commercial do this bit.
Yeah. I think that's a really good tip right there too, because I'm working on a live action trailer for my game, which is a weird thing to do, but I hired a bunch of Fiverr people to be social media people, and oh my god, I got like 2 to 5 minutes of footage from each of them, and I probably have 5 seconds of usable footage, just because it's so like robotic and no emotion, and like you could tell they're reciting lines, and it's just like something like that forgiveness opening is like, that guy knows his stuff. Like, I believe that guy is exactly what he's saying, right? Like, he's talking with like that sort of confidence. He's got his like, I guess that's how you do it, man. Theater is a fantastic idea. Man's theater experience.
This guy, he was so amazing. I just told him, you know what? Take the script, do whatever you want. Do whatever you want. And he nailed it first try. He's awesome. So great. I was like, this guy is the villain. I just gave him a bit of direction, how to say some stuff, because I want like build a suspense for the trailer. I actually thought about the trailer back then. I needed like a pause there so I can use that at the end of the trailer, like the big tadam, and just bits and bobs of direction. But he nailed it. He know where to speak loud, where to go loud. So just get someone that knows his stuff if you're doing a voice actor, because this is the first thing they hear when they go to your game.
Yeah.
And if they hear someone that talks from I don't know, a video camera microphone and speaks like me with my accent, then it's not gonna be good.
And people go to Fiverr all the times, and Fiverr has its uses, right? Like, it's a site where you can get anything done for $5. But if that stuff is so important, because like if you think if Thomas Was Alone or like Darkest Dungeon, the voiceovers make those games.
Yeah.
Right.
Definitely.
Like without the voiceovers, those games aren't even that interesting. Like a game about squares.
Lot of games.
Yeah. So that stuff, that's one of those things that subconsciously can just boost the perceived value of your game. Right, like instantly it goes up because it's just like, whoa, that seems professionally produced.
Yeah.
Or you could just
even
be
though
like me
it's
with
like an indie game.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing is like if you can take the best of both worlds, you can create this innovative artistic thing all by yourself and like make it awesome, but then also have that professional produced audio experience and all that. It can add so much.
It is. I agree. It can also be something as simple as I mean, it's not simple, yeah, but the art design you said about it, even though it's squares, it's weird. It doesn't look finished. Even though it's squares, it's like, wait, what? Who published the game that you see only squares? And then you look into it because it seems so weird. Weird is good. People like weird. When you scroll to Twitter and you see something that you don't understand, you stop and you think, what is that? So
I've also realized there's a difference between graphics and aesthetics. I didn't realize this early on, but like people are like, oh, you need high graphics, and what they mean is like you need these crazy 3D scenes or you need this epic pixel art. But no, what you actually need is good aesthetics. You can take cubes and with the right lighting and colors and flat colors and good color palette and all that stuff, you can make it look fantastic, right? Even though the graphics are simple, aesthetically it looks beautiful.
Amazing. You have to learn lighting. If you guys do 3D stuff, I suggest just take, I'm not even joking, just 2 months of learning light, because it's
just light.
It's huge, man. If you see the first demo for Forgiveness, everything is bright. Everything is yellow and bright and weird. And the wall is not in the right perception. It's weird. I got like this feedback from this guy. Don't you think the walls are too high? And I was like, what? And then he sent me, the first scene is like a hospital scene. And there's like this border right here on the wall, that like a wood palette that you can hold. And it was like above your head area type, and I was like, yo, I never noticed that. And then he just sent me a real life picture of a hospital that has the same style, and you see that it likes to go to your waist, and I was like, damn, the proportion is all wrong, and the lighting looks terrible when you see it side by side.
Yeah.
And you have to, again, it was like the first build ever, so it takes some time, but you have to learn lighting if you do 3D. Even if you do 2D, it got you gotta do something. Your Final Phobia game, the lighting is one of the best lighting mechanics I've seen, because it's so new.
Well, thank you. I think it was interesting. I don't know if it was the best, but yeah, I took lighting in a different perspective. I took lighting and I made it light and dark.
Gameplay feature. It's lighting made it a gameplay feature. It's so good when you combine these things together. It's not just lighting. It affects the gameplay.
Lighting, I think, is one of the single advances we've made the most on in the last 10 years, though, especially with 3D engines. Like,
Probably.
lighting is what makes the biggest difference between the PS2 games and the PS4 games. Like,
lighting and color correction and all of that, post-processing.
And so that kind of stuff, just, that's a cumulative effect. And that's one of those things, too, that, like, people can't articulate, right? They're not going to say, this lighting is bad and the ray casting is wrong or the perspective is wrong. They're just like, I don't like it.
Yeah.
Right? They make some general thing.
Finger.
Doesn't look right. They don't know why it doesn't look right. And so it's really hard to track that stuff down. But it's really important because it happens on the opposite end too. You make something that has perfect lighting and it's great. They're like, oh, this makes me feel whatever. And it's like, it's good. They can't tell that it's the lighting that's doing that to them, but they just know how it makes them feel.
Sometimes even reflections can do that. Reflection, it's so much than just the water that you see the wall from it. It's like the reflection from your table or from the wall or from like this clock and all of that. It makes the game look alive. If you just add reflections, I don't know if it's easy in other programs, but in Unity it is. You just add reflection, it looks 10 times better. It's amazing. It affects everything. So you should definitely do that.
A lot of the AAA games these days are putting lens flares in their 3D environment. So like you look at the sun, you got lens flares. And if you think about it contextually, it doesn't make any sense. Like those are my eyes. I don't have lens flares in my eyes.
It just looks good.
It looks good. It looks, and so they know that, and they know it looks interesting, and that's what it's about. It's about the feeling that it conveys, not the realism of what would actually happen.
You know, I tried adding lens flare because I was so into those games with this weird, and I installed something, you know, like a free asset that does that, and I was like, yo, this looks amazing. I love it. I want to do it everywhere, every place I do a lens flare, which seems ridiculous, but yeah, I just wanted to do it everywhere. And when I post the next patch, Mac and Linux didn't run the game. It just instantly crashed, and I had to check what that did. And it's like a full day, and it was sheer luck that some of the Linux guys, not even I found it, a Linux guy that go to the crash folder, the crash notepad, and noticed that weird asset. I guess he does video games as well. He's a developer as well. So yeah, it was super cool that this guy solved my bug.
Yeah. I've heard that about the Linux community. They seem to be very, very helpful.
They are.
Anyway, I want to be respectful of your time a little bit. So I want to ask, is there anything else you wanted to share or talk about the Forgiveness launch?
The Forgiveness launch, let's see. Well, you
or
know,
anything you've learned since. I don't know. Anything you want to share?
Be yourself. That's the best advice I can give you. I was like this huge Twitter bot. Just type in all of that, and you know, it's Saturday, you gotta do a screenshot Saturday. No, if you don't have anything to show for it, don't force yourself to do it. And the best advice I can give to everyone that starts a new project, if you have just a bit of following on Twitter, that you should have, by the way, like 100 followers or 200 followers, that's enough. First of all, try to make tons of prototypes, just like you did. That's how I do my workflow, and that's how everyone should do it. You just need to do prototypes and push it to the public. Use their correct tags and everything. Just look how the community reacts to those prototypes. Look if there's someone that wants to play that game. Even though it's prototype, someone will go, yo, that's cool, I want that. And if nobody says that, if you see like 0 likes and nobody cares about it, then you know that is not the right prototype. But if you see something that is get a lot of attraction, and again, it's percentage wise to your following, then you know that you got something, and you know you can push and work more on that and see how other places react to it, Reddit or Discord, or just keep getting feedback on your project.
Yeah, that's been a core philosophy of mine. I always feel like it's easier to discover a cool game than to like design one. So I just make a bunch and then see what people say, and then like, oh, okay, they like that one the best, let's go with that.
You should like that. You should like it yourself too, because if not,
it's got to resonate.
Working on a game,
you're gonna be stuck with it. That's how it was with Cyberpunk for me, because
just find both of them.
Yeah, totally. I think there's an intersection there that you got to make sure you hit, because this is one of the things I've realized as I got older too. Like I used to just be like, oh, let's just jump into a project, woohoo. But now, like when I'm thinking about a project, it's like, I'm going to be dedicating 6 months, a year to this at least. No. How am I going to feel in 6 months about this, right? Like,
you have to think about it. You're no longer a child that just playing around with these programs. You have to make a living out of it if you want to. At the end, right. If it's just a hobby, then do whatever you want. But if you want to be successful financially, you have to be a boring businessman that calculates his hours and everything, because that's how life is. You have to do it.
It is invaluable, and a lot of people think that it's boring and they don't want to do it, but then they wish they had done it after they launch, and they realize that these other people maybe knew something they didn't when everybody says it, because it's important.
Experience is always better than knowledge, that's for sure.
Oh yeah, that is a great quote.
Yeah, my father told me that.
Your father sounds like a fantastic man.
He is.
All right. Where can people find you on the internet if they want more from you?
Okay, so Chaos Minds is the brand of the games. You can search for Forgiveness, and you can go to Twitter, Chaos Minds, and all of that. If you want to learn game design and just me blabbing around some stuff, you can go to Game Dev Vision. YouTube channel that I put like 4 videos there, but the latest video, watch that one, because I put a lot of effort in it. I just told Tim before we started how long it takes to edit those videos, like 4.5-minute video took me 2 days. So yeah, definitely if you're interested in game design, some more marketing tips, all of that good, check it out.
Cool. All right. Thank you, Noam. I got all the links down in the description. Everything he just mentioned is going to be right there. Go to his channel right now. Click on the subscribe button. Watch out for his content, and then go buy Forgiveness, which is, like I said, it's the only game that has caught my girlfriend and I from Feedback Friday to go back and play through the entire thing. Like out of, I don't even know how many games I played. Probably hundreds at this point. But that's the only game that's actually caught us there. So thank you, dude, for doing this. Thank you for sharing all of your knowledge with indie developers.
Thank you for inviting me, and you know, we should do this again when your post launch, when you have your stats to compare and all of that. We should do it with everyone. Actually, everyone should come out and compare their stats. So
100%. A lot of people guard their info like it's like, I just believe that everybody should share everything. I feel like we have such a better society if everybody just shares all the stuff they learn, and that's what I've been on a journey to try and promote last couple of years.
Yeah,
cool.
I've seen it.
Thank you
so much.
Thank you so much. I'll see you later. Appreciate it.